think William has learnt very much from the Middleton clan about how to be a father, how to be a parent, although obviously he looks back to his childhood with Princess Diana and the fun they had. But he knows that he is producing future heir and a couple of extras. And I think he's very conscious that the children need to have good manners and know how to behave in public, but also that their mental health is incredibly important. William has always made it very clear that he shares parenting with Kate. They're very much a team, the two of them, and they look after the children together. We know that they share the school run, they take the children to school together, and obviously pick them up at the end of the day, depending on which parent's working and which is not. There's a strict bedtime at around 7 o'clock, but William is very much involved in bath time and reading. We know that when they were little, the children loved the Gruffalo, and as they're getting older, their tastes have changed. And William revealed recently that they love Julia Donaldson's Room on the Broom, and that, you know, they'll be moving on to David Walliams. I think William and Kate's focus is always on emotional health and the well-being of their children, hence the focus on the great outdoors. It's a great stress reliever, and they spend a lot of time out and about on their bikes and playing with animals, gardening, you name it. They're always outside. If they do have problems, William and Kate do not shout, they do not raise their voices. They have a chat on the sofa about what's gone wrong and why they're upset. I think we've seen, particularly with Louis recently, that sometimes these great state occasions take their toll on him because he's so tiny. But you'll very much see, you know, one of the parents reassuring him, and as we saw at the Jubilee concert, of course, he clambered onto the now King's lap. I think that they chose a Norland nanny because they wanted their children to have a certain type of upbringing, and obviously they're very well aware that the children are going to be more and more in the public eye. I think Maria is pretty strict with them. Bedtime is 7 o'clock. Manners are very important, and no TV until after supper, and programs are regulated. She also, as William and Kate do, believes very much in taking them out and about, wearing them out, and giving them lots of experiences, lots of learning how to do things, playing jigsaw puzzles, you know, making things. We saw the children make cards for Princess Diana on Mother's Day. We've seen them baking cakes. They're very much learning through experience, I think. I think that they see themselves the same way as other parents. Obviously, they're aware of their roles in public, but you've got to remember both of them went to public schools. They had lots of friends, mingled with aristocrats, but people from different backgrounds. And I think that they want the same thing for their own children. I think William had a very mixed childhood for obvious reasons. Tragically, his mother was killed when he was still quite young, and before that, his parents obviously were separated and then divorced, and the wearing of the Welleses became very common knowledge. So I think he's very conscious of not putting his children through the same experience. Saying that, I think he very much respects his father's causes and the things that were important to him, and his work ethic, and obviously Diana's enormous sense of fun. She took them on treats and outings. She took them to the cinema. You know, they'd go to McDonald's with baseball caps on. I think she wanted them to have a very normal childhood, and that shows. William and Kate have taken the children on all sorts of fun days out. They've been to the seaside. They've been to the football. We've memorably saw them at football. Charlotte's been to Wimbledon. Well, all of the children, I think, have been to Wimbledon. You know, they are seen out and about, having fun and enjoying themselves. I think that William and Kate are very much a united team. I don't think it's I don't think you would see one of the children playing off one parent against another. I think they're very much committed to the way they bring up their children, and they follow through. I think that Carol and Michael Middleton, as in The King and the Queen, they are very fond of their grandchildren and want to be involved as much as possible there. But they treat them as normal children growing up, not as a future king or his siblings. So I think they're all on the same page, the Middleton family, the royal family. I think that the key is bringing up very happy children who are aware of their future role. I think Carol and Michael do the same thing with their grandchildren as they did with their own children, which was a very outdoorsy lifestyle, going on lots of walks, going to the petting zoo, playing games. Michael Middleton's a great laugh, and he dresses up in fantasy dress at Christmas. I think it's a very normal middle-class lifestyle. I know that the Middletons, when they were little, as in Kate, Pippa, and James, would bake with their mother. They would slide down the stairs on a tray. I think it's all very simple pleasures in life, things that children enjoy and are formative. My point would be is that they are very typical of both their backgrounds, and that their focus is on the children having manners, the children having an enjoyable and fun life, and a sense of duty and responsibility.
The other things that I think are really interesting, just from a historian's perspective, and I think probably from yours as well, of seeing where it will go in the future, is who his mentors were, his political mentor and his emotional mentor.
Right.
So, we know that William had a great amount of time with his grandmother, Elizabeth II. She would have lunches with him, they would speak together often, and she did try to explain the mechanics of the institution he will lead. And learning about the mechanics of monarchy from Elizabeth II must be like learning about music from Mozart. In that sense, he's had a great deal of political and constitutional mentoring from a very successful, very popular monarch, who I would say was sort of a conservative figure with a small c, not in any way linked to the political party, but did not believe in radical change for its sake within the monarchy. One of his emotional mentors, of course, was his late mother. And I think people often tend to forget that, because in the same way we tend to slot the Princess of Wales and the Duchess of Sussex into these historical archetypes, we've kind of done the same with the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex. We now see William as Charles's son and Harry as Diana's son, and we sort of forget where they have similarities to the other parent. William was immensely close to his mother, and Diana was someone who was more of a radical royal compared to Elizabeth II. So he has these two very different influences. And that, I think, makes him exciting as a future king, because potentially, if he welds those two legacies of the sort of the willingness to change that Diana had, but the enthusiasm for tradition that Elizabeth II had, he could prove, I think, hugely successful as King William V.